Alright guys, we're starting with paper 2 of the November 2018 Mathematics South African Syllabus Grade 12 exam. Right, so paper 2, the first question we see it's a statistics question, and we read the cumulative frequency graph, or an ogive. Ogive is a cumulative frequency graph, just in case you didn't know. Drawn below shows the total number of food items ordered from a menu over a period of 1 hour. Okay, so here we have the cumulative frequency on the vertical axis and the number of minutes of time on the horizontal axis. So write down the total number of food items ordered from the menu during this hour. So the total, it's cumulative, so it accumulates to the total number at the top. So that's 140, right? We can see that. So 140. That's nice and easy. We can just read that off for 1 mark. Write down the modal class. Okay, so each of these intervals represents a class. So we want to find which of these classes has the highest jump. Okay, just by looking at it quickly, it looks probably like this one. So what we want to do if we're unsure is we want to measure, right? So let's check. So in this class, we go from that to that. So that interval. And then this one, the other candidate, we go from there to there. Okay, so we can see this one is more, right? This goes from, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's say 78 here, and this is 30. And this one is what? 110, 12, 14. 114. Okay, so this difference is 48. This difference is about, what is that? About 36. Right, so this one is the biggest. So that means this is our modal class. So you just want to check which one has the highest jump. Okay, so our modal class is 20 to 30. So 20 and, yeah, 20, it doesn't really matter how you write it. 20 minutes, we can call it minutes, or 20, it's number of minutes, right? So minutes is between 20 and 30. All right. Then, how long did it take to order the first 30 food items? The first 30 food items. Okay. So number of food items over here, the first 30 of them. Okay, so we've already drawn a line there, but let's just draw it again to make sure. That one, we go down, that's the number of minutes. So it took 20 minutes for the first 30 items, right? So in the first 20 minutes, we had 30 items ordered. So 20 minutes. Again, just 1 mark. 20 minutes. So remember to write your units. Okay, how many food items were ordered in the last 15 minutes? So the last 15 minutes, now we have to check. Okay, so how do we get the last 15? Well, 15 less than 60 is 45, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right here, at 45 minutes, let's just draw a nice line there and connect it to our vertical axis here. So now we check. So in the last 15 minutes, so in these minutes, we ordered that many food items. So important not to read off this value here, because this will be the first 45 minutes, right? This will be the left-hand side. We're looking for the last 15 minutes, those ones. So what is that? That's from each of these counts 2, right? So 130, 128, 126. So 140 minus 126. So we'll go 140 minus 126, and we get 14 items. 14 items ordered in the last 15 minutes. Okay, and then we'll finish up this question. I think, yeah, finishing up this question. Quick one. Calculate the interquartile range. So interquartile range, let's just write that down. Interquartile range is just the third quartile minus the first quartile, right? Q3 minus Q1. And now what is a quartile? Maybe we should explain that quickly. So a quartile, so Q1, let's do Q1 first. So Q1 says, if we find this value, whatever this value is, that value splits the data into 1/4 and 3/4 on that side, right? So this value here is Q1, which means 1/4 of the data are less than this value and 3/4 are greater than. So Q1 means 1/4 is less than. Now Q3, what do you think that means? Correct. It just means that 3/4 are less than Q3. Alright, so 3/4 of the data are less than Q3, and then 1/4 is bigger. So we need to find 1/4 of the data and 3/4 of the data, and then read off some values from there. So how many total items do we have? 140. So we need to find what is 1/4 of 140. Right, so 140 divided by 4, that's not going to be a perfect number, but where's the calculator? Let me just check. 140 divided by 4, 35. Okay, good. So 35 will be Q1. Okay, so we go to 35, so 32, 4, 5 is right there, and we connect that and read the value of here. So that's about 20, 21, 21 and a half, 22. So I'm going to call it 21. It looks closer to 21 to me. So I'm just going to say so far Q1 is 21. And then we're going to do Q3. So Q3, what is Q3? Well, that's 3/4 of 140, right? So 3/4 of 140 is 105. So Q3 is 100, not 105. Q3 we have to read off the value at 105. Right, so we go to 105, so 2, 4, 5, that's about there. Connect and read off the value going down. Okay, so what is that? 40, 39, 38, 37. So Q3 is 37. And now our interquartile range, all that is Q3 minus Q1, which gives us 37 minus 21, and that gives us 16. So interquartile range, so that tells us, if we're looking between Q1 and Q3, right? So let's say that's between Q1, Q3. So this is our interquartile range, right? There's Q1, here's Q3. So quarter of the data there, quarter of the data there, and then a half of the data in here. So interquartile range just says half of the data, half of the values are between Q1 and Q3. That's the middle half of the data. So to know there are 16 values between the middle half. So that's the range. A range of 16 different values for the middle half of the data. Alright, so that was question 1 on Ogive or cumulative frequency graph, and then I'll see you again for question 2.